Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 49 of A Fern Between Us.
Jeez, it's a long time. Cheers, you guys. What's happening?
We are two of the four owners. That's Jesse. I'm Michelle. And we have a super fun, weird kind of offshoot episode today. We're going to talk about how to make spring break fun at home. So all this week, I've been polling people, seeing what is spring break to you guys. So, of course, back in the day when we were in college, spring break definitely meant a certain kind of atmosphere that you were trying to have or create.
Senior frogs or Lake Havasu or some crap like
definitely
that.
Definitely the beach, lots of drinking, and now that we're older.
Bikinis.
And we don't want to see some COVID bodies in bikinis anymore.
Oh.
Mine being a big problem.
Especially not 40 plus bikini bodies.
Hey, there's some amazing 40 plus, just not
the
in
COVID
our house.
body we're talking about, right?
So before we get to that, let's do a little check-in. We are drinking the brand new Diavolo, which is 2018. Right?
2018. Yeah, it'll be more than a year before we release it, I'm sure. But
so this is another mean one. We did get some comments about tasting the two rosés and how mean it was to taste a wine that everybody was going to have to wait a long time in order to get their hands on. Sorry about that. Here
gotta
we
wait
go
even
again.
longer on this one.
But it's super fun because you bottled it today, right?
We bottled it today, so it's right before we had a half bottle left, at the end of the run or whatever. So I brought it home so we could taste it real quick. But basically, it'll be going through bottle shock for a little bit, and then it'll be maturing in the bottle and hopefully be amazing in a year.
Well, it's already really amazing. And the Divino that you brought home, same thing. Yep. The other day was fantastic. I'm really excited about this 2018. And so it's a little bit older vintage than, release, I should say, since you're going to be holding onto it in bottle, letting it mature even more.
Until these last ones run out, which is, we just released them. So
yeah.
It's going to be, it'll be a year probably, or maybe more. Depends on how quickly they sell.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. We just had an event last night, a Zoom tasting with one of the chapters for American Wine Society. And one of the things that they were really, really impressed with was ageability, because they actually have some older vintages that they poured for their group. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I think that is one of the things that you guys really excel at. And next week, I'm going to be out of town, so Jesse's going to have the reins, and Chris is going to be here.
I'm going to mess it up big time, guys. Definitely tune in. No, it'll be me and Chris. We're going to have some fun. I don't know. We've got a couple ideas. We'll talk to you about that at the end. But anyway.
I was just going to say, it's, that's one of the things that I love about your winemaking. If you have questions about that, that's going to be a good time to talk about ageability and why your wines can age so well.
So think of your questions, guys. Send them in, and we'll put us on the spot too. Oh, well, I thought we were going to do this later, but all right. So I guess the topic's going to be something about siblings or winemaking. Anything in there that you want to know about, working with siblings or anything like that? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can really stick it to us. Ask us the hard questions.
I might have to
chime in.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it's you. I want to see the questions and think that somebody else asked that.
Of course. So here we are tasting the Diavolo, getting ready for our own spring break. I'm not going to be here. I'm going away with our daughter to have a little break.
On her spring break.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I'm going to get high. No, I'm going to stay up too late and drink too much and, do the single guy thing,
That's hilarious. All right.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll even have some sober days in there. We'll see.
Okay, yeah. Well, as we roll into what you guys were thinking about what spring break used to look like, could look like, now everybody's in, some people are wanting to escape, like myself and our daughter Denali. So we're going to a spa retreat that is really following a lot of protocols, limiting how many people are coming in, so that we have an activity, but we also feel on the safe side and
a nice
protected.
ladies pampering vacation.
Exactly.
Cool.
And so
That seems like a good thing to do.
Yeah.
In this time when you can't go to Cancun. I mean, you can go to Cancun, but do you want to?
Yeah. Right. So a lot of people talked about one of the big things that people associate with spring break, even as adults, we're there too, is day drinking and lots of drinking. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about is how to go about doing that at home. If you're anything like us, in the beginning, a year ago, when we started day drinking, it was heavy drinking. And so I think
it was like
point,
it was 6 o'clock at night, but we just started at whenever.
And now a year later, I think we have some controls and learned some lessons. And so in order to do that, I think it's important to learn about different wine cocktails, different ways to get your drink to go throughout the day and not end up, drooling on the floor while your kids are, crying in the corner. And
looking down at you. If your kids are looking down at you, you know it's bad. But they're looking down at you with disappointment and hunger. And
oh, that's bad. That's bad. So one of the things that we want to look at is, of course, day drinking starts in the morning. One of my favorite things is mimosas or bubbly with breakfast. So don't forget, they make these adorable little bottles. And they're so user-friendly. And so you don't have to open an entire bottle, because if you open a bottle, you have to drink the whole thing. And I will, but, it makes for a mess by lunch. So pick up some of these, use the new method of packaging to your, what's the word I'm looking for? To your benefit.
yeah.
So, of course, there's mimosas. Think about how to get further down the road, adding juice, drinking a little
The good
slower.
thing about wine cocktails is that they generally reduce the concentration of alcohol. They do that for booze too, booze, but you end up with still probably a decently hard.
And it tastes so good, it goes down really easy.
I know. And all right, so wine cocktails, in theory, you're making a glass of wine bigger in order to have more liquid to drink in a set amount of time. Slow you down a little bit. It reduces it to like the strength of beer. You can drink more quantity for less buzz. Which sounds counterintuitive, but it's a good thing if it's day drinking.
Yes.
If that's what we're on. We're on day drinking.
We're
right?
on day drinking, yeah. And let's face it, even if you didn't think you were going to day drink, you're going to have frustrated kids at home without the structure of online school. Why don't you know what to do? You're going to need a break or some kind of mood elevator to handle it.
Spring break is spring break for you too.
Yes.
It shouldn't be that much of an added burden. It should be fun. It's more work, child rearing wise, but it should be fun as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part too. That I think my personal advice, and I've just come up with this, is to plan your spring break the way you would a normal spring break.
Yeah.
I think what happens or has happened for us is over this year, we stopped planning stuff. So you just feel like you're at home.
It might be the hardest part.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, whatever. It's the same old thing. But there are actually some great tips out there and ideas around how to make your home environment
Some
easier.
tips are bigger than others.
And so I think you should take the time to plan it. Is there a day that you guys are going to get all dolled up and have a nice dinner, which could be trying out a new recipe, or it could be, but plan ahead, go to the market so you have those things, and it's not now the market is part of the day. Or is it picking up from a restaurant? Now that there's a little bit of ease, maybe one of those days is actually going to a restaurant patio, but plan that. Okay, on Monday, this is what we're doing. On Tuesday, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Just like you would a normal spring break if you were going and saying, we're going to hit the beach on these days, and then we're going to go and do that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, it's different being single versus being married versus being with kids. But I think a big part of it...
Versus being a kid.
Yeah, I know, right? So we got to plan, like, how is that exciting or fun?
Got to make it fun for everybody.
Exactly. And there's mocktails. So don't forget about the kids when you do that. And one of the things before I move past breakfast drinking is when we were in...
When she says breakfast, she probably means 10 or 11, by the way. This is
that's
spring
when
break.
I get up.
This is spring break. You're not getting up at 6 or 7.
Exactly. You're sleeping in. Make sure everybody knows, including the kids, it's sleeping for the parents.
Obviously, that does not apply if you got 6-year-olds, or you're probably up the creek on that one.
Cartoons? Right? Don't you remember, like, Saturday you got up and you turned on the cartoons and you occupied yourself until it was wake-up time on the weekend? Do you remember that?
I do, and it's hard. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it works that way anymore, but maybe it does.
I have no idea, but that's our advice: is try that out. But the other thing is, when we were in Central Europe, we ended up in Austria for Easter and doing some day drinking over there, and they do a lot of adding sparkling water to a glass of wine.
Right.
And
red
it's
or white,
delightful.
it doesn't matter. You can do it with anything. It's delightful. They qualified it on how much wine versus how much sparkling water they had in it. So like, they had names for it. We never got the hang of that, but it was, it'd be like,
because we were drinking.
Right. But they even had like the amount that you would normally give a 6-year-old, the amount you would normally give a 12-year-old. That's what they used for kids learning how to drink as well. So it might be like you have a quarter wine and 3/4 sparkling for your younger kids, and then half and half for your older kids. And the same thing they would do throughout the day. They'd water it down heavier in the morning, and as the day went on, slowly but surely, you'd lose the sparkle. Yeah. And you'd end up with just the wine.
That was a fun Easter. So day drinking, yes, we're with you. We want to do that too. I'm going to be at a spa trying to be healthy, so maybe less day drinking for me. I don't know.
No, well, if you want to, it's right? However you want. It's whatever you want. The world is your oyster, baby.
Right. So another one is sunshine and beach. And of course, if you are staying at home, how do you do that? I did in Boulder one time go to a frat party where they brought in a ton of sand and filled the basement with sand. I don't recommend that you do that, but that was amazing.
I bet. The dudes couldn't get into that party, by the way, so...
Well, the dudes that threw it could get into the party.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, so
and then dating back to like high school days, we just went to the river beach, and that's a little narrow strip of muddy beach or whatever you want to call it. And, and you'd get your shenanigans on. It was awesome.
But I also think that it's easy to fall into the routine of you're doing your thing at home and you forget to actually just go outside for 10 minutes a day. Sit on the patio, or if you don't have a patio, go on a little stroll around the block, wherever you live. Get outside. It changes your entire mood and demeanor. And
plus, that's where all the smoking happens. So fresh air, it's great. No, just kidding. I don't smoke. You don't smoke. I don't know how that occurred to me, but always going outside to smoke, right? When we were growing up. I'm thinking, spring break, you go outside to smoke. I don't know.
I don't know. I lost him already. Okay. So
I'm
another
gonna need more wine around here.
yes, I thought we'd open one of these and talk about what we think of them. Oh, wait.
No, I'm doing good. I'm just warning you. I'm getting closer.
So the other aspect of that is tanning. Of course, most of us are trying to be more healthy about our skin and skin cancer and not sitting out and baking in the sun the way we grew up, you know. Whoop, whoop, 90s. See the side part? Yep. And I think that that's important, but feeling tan makes you feel different, makes you feel, more confident. And I always feel like it covers up some of the fat. So there's great products out there for, spray tans that you can do at home, lotions that you can put on. Go for it. Just because you're at home doesn't mean that you would need to skip some of these things that if you were, say, in Vegas with the girls, you would spray tan your legs to look cute with your dress when you went out because it's been winter. We're all really pasty.
Or you can get probably, talk to your dermatologist or your doctor or whatever, but you could get a little sun. Just don't do the I'm gonna do the spring burn to have a nice base kind of deal, you know?
You drink faster than me. Here.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Was that an order or an observation?
I think it was an observation.
I'm gonna take it like an order. Yes, ma'am. Will do.
All right. So the other thing is Amazon sells tanning lights. So you could hook yourself up with a really cool thing in your home if you've got the cash. They're a little expensive. But the next thing is a lot of people are planning to actually take off of work, do stuff with the kids. And a lot of people are talking about reading books. And I have a long list. So I actually brought the stack of books that I am literally bringing on our trip. This is the stack.
You're not gonna read all those.
I know. This is what I'm bringing.
Is it just that you can't decide, or what?
In part, I can't decide, and because I like the fantasy that I'm planning in my head that I'm like going to be reading, and know. But so of course people want suggestions. So I thought I'd just share what I'm actually going to be trying to read. So Flannery O'Connor, so classics, right? Come Closer. This was a recommendation from my daughter who has excellent taste in books, so I'm excited about that. Just Mercy. If you want to read this, you really, really should, and you should do so with a box of Kleenex. Phenomenal book. We're about halfway. And then, because we're all super stressed out, my good friend sent this to me. I am really enjoying it. It does feel a little bit like homework, trying to decide how to unstress, right? Weird. And then because I'm obsessed with my job, a marketing book. So if you want to take any of those tips, let's talk about the books after spring break and see what you thought of them. Or tell us what you read. Any books that you're going to be reading? I saw you were reading something outside as you sat on the patio.
Read, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's the book you gave me about a one man's journey down the Continental Divide Trail on a bicycle. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be. It's so far. So far, it's a rolling train wreck. So this is going to be, it's kind of the outdoor experience you want to read about.
Right? That sounds entertaining. And I think that's a big thing is, having some escape literature or escape shows. We just finished watching Tell Me Your Secrets, which is on Amazon Prime. Fabulous show if you like the kind of more macabre.
Yeah, it's kind of Ozark-ish in a weird way.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I'm cleaning my glass with a new wine because I went from a red to a white.
Oh, good thinking. That way, your white won't be that tainted with the overbearing flavor of the red.
Exactly. So what we are tasting today is the Acrobat in a can. One of the things I'm loving about canned wines is that you get to drink lots of different flavors by sharing a can. So I think that's also part of people talking about excessive drinking on spring break. for me, that's a lot of different flavors.
Yeah.
So if we were at, someplace on vacation, we'd be going to one place for breakfast, one place for lunch. We'd stop at a bar. We'd go somewhere for dinner on a regular kind of year. And I'd get a different drink at each of those places. And I love that. That feels festive to me.
Yeah.
And so
rather than opening a bottle and being
exactly.
stuck with a whole bottle of that one thing until
that
you
one
finish
flavor.
that, so you can open a new one.
Yeah.
Or most wines, our wines anyway, will last till tomorrow easily.
For sure.
Open a couple of them, and then you can have a repeat of the same flavors tomorrow if you just do like one
or
glass,
make a
one glass,
cocktail out of that tomorrow.
Right?
Which,
well, yeah, actually that really works good. If you've got a wine that's going bad at all, or like not going bad, but it's been open. It's been open for a couple days and it's not at its prime, and that bothers you. Make a cocktail out of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at that point. If you're, it's kind of, then it goes into the cheap vodka category rather than the sipping vodka, and you make drinks out of cheap vodka, right?
Yes, absolutely. And so you have made fantastic sangria before. What is your recipe?
I like a little bit of sweetness, so I'll sweeten it slightly with so you're the ones I like are red wine, Sprite, to a varying amount. That adds to the sweetness and the bubbles. Then you want I like a berrier one rather than so
berries,
much, a little bit of citrus, but ideally, a lot of people put orange slices or something, but I'm kind of more of a lime, more of a tart. If you can find those, anything in between, like a mandarin orange or something like that, would be, extra good. But a little more berry, a slight amount of acidity from the tart citrus.
Now you also usually put vodka in it, don't you?
And I fortify it with vodka. If or even gin. Gin makes a good because it's got all those herbal notes in it and stuff like that. So. But if you're trying to make it earlier in the day, skip the fortifier. If you're making it later in the day, it's awesome that way. I don't know.
Yeah, that whole idea of don't mix your alcohols. There's a lot of recipes that specifically do. There's a red wine margarita that has you combine the triple sec and the tequila and your lime component, and then float. So you shake that up and pour it into a glass, and then floating a drink on top is if you use a bar spoon upside down and then just gently pour the next liquid on top of it, it actually causes it to sit on top, and so you can float a red wine. It looks really cool. Yeah. But you're mixing some things together, and my personal one for the blender, because spring break isn't spring break without
margarita.
Yeah, and
I knew you were going there.
And some blender, some ice, some frothy. And I love making wine margarita that does white wine, tequila, limeade. You can also do that with beer instead of wine if that's the way you want to go.
Those are amazing margaritas, by the way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really easy. Simple. Really easy. These will get you. I mean, you could go up a little lighter on the tequila, but the way we do it is, if we're going beer, it's really simple because it's 1 can of beer, 1 can of limeade, and that amount of tequila. But instead, you would put a white wine, 1 can of white wine, and it makes the best margarita ever.
Shout out to my dad. That's his recipe.
Yeah, it was an old camping recipe, and it's simple and it's so good. And you could do it over rocks, or you can blend it all up with as a frozen. Yeah, it's really good.
Really quickly, I just wanted to mention, because I do think it's interesting to try all of these canned wines. It's such an easy way to also throw some wine in a cooler and go to the river or sit outside, or it makes it really user-friendly. Yeah, exactly. And I'm enjoying the Acrobat wines, actually. The Pinot Gris is really solid. This is a Chardonnay, and it has all the components. It's vitally correct. I'm pretty pleased with, how it's.
We're headed this way, so we're doing lots of research.
Exactly. And then you can take our wines on your hikes into the river and everything else. All right. So another interesting suggestion is to rearrange your furniture in your house for just the week. Ooh. So it might not work as well as your current layout, but move the sofa, move the chairs around, pick up the rug, put down a rug, change where the bed is, because one of the things that people are really craving at spring break is it's that spring fever, and they want a new scenery, a new environment.
We've got that in spades this year, of course.
Right? So
having
hard.
been stuck. Oh man, it's brutal. I mean, some people have been getting out there, but it's mostly like people who like to ski and things like that. It's it's not all of us, obviously.
Yeah. But I like this
I like
idea.
skiing, but we haven't done it. So.
I know, it's really too bad. But I think it's really an interesting idea to play around with that. And obviously it would take a little bit of work, but put that effort in right away at the beginning and, just have a little bit different experience. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that we've talked about coming back from being in Mexico over the winter, and coming back, it was like, well, we didn't do anything different. We were really staying at home, but in an Airbnb. And so it felt really different, but not our day to day was identical.
Yeah.
Right?
Nice and boring, and doing this on your phone, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Because it was in a new place, and we had to build a fire, which we don't have a fireplace here. Like,
right.
There's a few different things, but that was 1 month. Sorry,
I realize I should have assisted you with your mic. You've got the cord coming out. It's upside down.
It's just the way it is. I don't know how to change it now.
We'll have to work on that, but
now it's stupider.
Oh, yeah.
You had me pick it up. I was asking for help, and you were like, yeah, whatever. It's the way it is. Okay. It's better than having it under the shirt the way it wanted to be the whole time. So
I was like,
I got it facing down away from my mouth, but
I'm sure it's
fine.
The
only way to go.
Hey, it's fine. All right. So another thing is water. The water component is so big for so many people. We look to go to the beach.
Yeah.
We look to go to the river, to a lake. What do you suggest people do to try to get the water element in?
People like water.
Oh my God, stop. You can't do that.
All right, so... So the water, let's see. Most rivers are colder than all but the most diehards are going to go on right now, right? So but obviously there's going and being near any body of water, which is always, most of the time you're spending even at the warm beach, you're probably not spending most of the time in the water anyway. You dip in a couple times. Yeah. So ideally, just go and be near the water would be my suggestion, whether it's your lake or your river or your ocean.
Yeah, I think the sound is so calming.
Is the soothing part, really. You could always go to your local rec center and sit with the screaming 6-year-olds going, jumping in the pool. I don't know.
Well, that's interesting.
Well,
actually, you could get a baby pool and fill it and just have it at your house where you just kind of splash around. Not for spring break, you can't.
It's going to be too cold.
You think if we were staying here, I couldn't put a baby pool out there and splash in it?
No way. Way too cold. Way too cold. The air is too cold and the water would be too cold.
Oh.
If the water's coming out of the ground, out of a well, out of your community water, it's going to be 60 degrees.
Don't do that then.
And then the air is not warm enough to make that okay.
Oh.
Take a shower. That's what you do.
Which might be an amazing new thing for you to try.
Or
during
like you
COVID.
guys are doing, you're going to a spa, so you will have hot tubs and
yes.
You'll have probably a warm pool and some private tubs and things like that, and some mud pools and
exactly.
weird things like that, which would be great.
Yeah, yeah. Those were good suggestions.
Fly to Seoul, Korea, and go to one of those where you just 1,000 pools in one room. Oh, you don't know about this?
1,000 pools in one room? No.
Okay, like 10 or 12 different pools, but like a spa over there.
Okay.
I've been because I know because I've been. Just a tip. It's just an old tip. No, we went to this one place. It was really cool.
That was in Seoul?
Seoul, Korea. It was on a layover, and my parents had a.
Why did I think that was Japan?
It was Seoul, Korea. I'm sure they do. I know they do it in Japan as well. But it was great, and so
the bathhouse.
This guy took us around that had lived with my mom in high school. He was a foreign exchange student my grandparents took in while my mom was in high school, and so we knew this guy they knew this guy from way back then, and she called him up, said, "We're gonna be in your hometown if you can believe it or not." And he says, "I'll have the limo waiting," and he literally picked up like us and 13 friends who were all going.
I'd like to know why there isn't a limo waiting when we land places.
Should we need to know more people like that guy?
Well, clearly you're not doing your job as a
blackbird. So he took us to a lot of places, and then one of the places was a decompression. Actually, straight out of the airport was a decompression because we had been on the plane all night. And so we went in, and it was just like there was a sulfur pool, a mud pool, a super hot pool, and they just had them all lined up there, and you could just go around, and they knew what they were doing. We were just like exploring, so we were like one to the next to the next to the next, trying to figure out what we were doing, and they're all looking at us like, man, these Americans are weird people. And rightly so. We are weird people over
I
there.
have no idea what we're doing. Yeah. So an interesting private message question was that this person has all these fond memories of going and being wild on spring break, and usually uses spring break to get together with college girlfriends and go have a blast and let off steam and dress up and feel sexy. And how do you do that in this time? They're going to be spending the entire time at home. They're not going anywhere.
Our age, more or less?
More, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sheesh, I don't know.
I know, right? So one of the things...
yeah, next year's your year, I swear.
You're screwed, and not in a good way. So I do think there's some amount to when we get together with our girlfriends, we go on a girls' trip, we usually are planning outfits, we get a new dress, we put on heels. But at home, we don't do that, It's amazing if I get jewelry on for the show. And I think that that's a missing component. And I think that there's also, okay, so subscribe to Pandora, pay the $15 this month, and have dance party in your living room, get dressed up, drink bubbly out of the bottle,
Is that what it is? Nice.
Well, that's what we like to do.
Another thing would be, restaurants are opening back up, patio style,
Call up some girlfriends, get dressed to the nines. Yeah.
Dressed to the nines and go out and do that once or twice, or, treat yourself to...
Some extravagance.
We know you haven't spent any money since COVID began on yourself in this way, so just do it.
Yeah, and I also think that's true with, buy some of the stuff that are more expensive kits to, do some sunning in your hair and paint your nails. And I don't know about you guys, but I haven't painted my nails in a year. It's just one of those weird things that goes by the wayside. So I don't know, making an effort to take into account those things that would normally happen on spring break is going to make it feel a lot more fun and festive, and not feeling silly that you're by yourself. How stupid to open a whole bottle of bubbly. Why? Treat yourself. Buy yourself a movie to, watch on TV, one of the expensive ones that's now out in theaters, but, Just there's some really dark ones that maybe don't watch those. All right, so
We all good?
that's pretty much, we hit all of our things that everybody wrote in. Thank you so much. It was a little bit of a different format to have suggestions and not really specific questions per se. So kind of interesting and fun. We'll see what happens next week when we have Chris and Jesse.
Could be anything. Who knows? Oh, yeah, we're going to mess it up. We'll probably drink too much. We'll see what happens. Who knows? We'll be partying. I promise.
Yes. So make sure to write in lots of questions for those guys, and we will see you soon. I'll see you the week after for our 1-year anniversary of a Fern between us. And
wow. That's really how long it's been. That's crazy.
It's been a year. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing.
It was a year ago today they declared a pandemic, so
yeah,
everything was going crazy last year. At least this year we're on, fairly stable ground.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. So anyway, thank you so much for giving us a year.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.